Hello everyone, welcome back to The Sea Will Claim Everything. We are here at the Sadaka Gate, and let's go through. I don't remember if we have quests to do in this town. If we do, we'll come back to it. We're exploring the world, and I realized something after finishing last episode. The way that this game's set up is amazing. I love it. So you start out and you're in the Underhome, and you talk to the Mysterious-Druid, who's the owner and curator of the home. And you spend so much time in the home that it becomes familiar. Like, this is the place where you are. And you meet the people there and you have discussions. And it's like you're there in a family. And then you leave and you go out and you meet the neighbors. You meet the community that they live in. And it's like, oh yeah, also there's this community of people around. And then you go to some other places, like the Petrified Forest and the ruins of whatever that town was called. And you realize that this place has history. You know, in town you realize the Underhome is connected with the people of the town in a community. And then the place has history. It's been there for a long time. Stuff has happened. Stuff has changed. And this whole economic plot, it's a kind of a weird plot, right? You don't see that very often. But this is so loud. I gotta keep turning the volume down. The economic plot really shows how everything is connected. And then once you do stuff, you explore the island, then you can go out to the sea and you realize that this community is trading with other islands. And they're connected with those people. Like here in the market, we found... where is it? This is where they bought the carpet for that room in the Underhome, and how we have to buy another one. It's off on another island. We're connected that way. And then there's also this mainland off somewhere, where there's this Lord Urizen. We don't know if he's an emperor, he's a conqueror, he is, what's the word? Annexing these islands into his realm. And maybe he is part of something bigger with like feuding lords off on some continent, and they're all connected. And just these levels of identity and being a part of something and being connected with something a little bit bigger, being connected with something a little bit bigger. And that is awesome. That and it doesn't state it outright. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. It feels like it doesn't state that outright. It's just there in the design of the game and how you play. And that makes it so good. Anyway, we're hopping out into the desert. Isle of the Stars. You don't see any evidence of what happened to Hashim. Maybe you should have a look around. It said that these flowers change their color in the moonlight. We're gonna come out here at night? Well, big wide open desert. Uh-oh. We are lost. A flowering cactus. Pretty, but not very useful at the moment. A Saurian sausage! You could use that. That's for... What is that for? I don't remember. Saurian sausage. It has been... So the last time when I played episode 4, it was before episode 1 went out. And now it's... episode 4 is about to come out. So it's been a while since I played this. Where's the sausage? There it is. You want to play with the sausage? No, not in public. It smells like chicken. If you had more than one, this would make a great meal, but you need to put this in the alchemy machine. Alright, then it's what? 5 times 7... 5 times 7 new texts or something like that. The mouse says no mouse would ever eat such a sausage. Why don't you give it to a cat or a donkey or some other lowly creature? Mice have an elevated understanding of cuisine. This cactus seems vaguely familiar. You suspect you may have gotten lost. New location out of the map. Also, you're no longer lost. Hooray! Yeah, so I did go forward. I did go left and then right, and the scene had changed. So, an oasis. Oh no, it was a mirage. Okay. You found loon flower seeds. Cool. What does that taste like? Flock. They smell like loon flowers do, like the desert wind with a hint of insanity. The mouse suggests you stick these in an alchemical device of some kind and stop bothering innocent mice with your nonsense. Didn't you read the description? Flock. Yeah. This flower is fascinated by you. This flower is very silly. An emotionally balanced flower. This flower is a little slow sometimes, but it's not stupid. A fragrant water lily. They're popular with nymphs. Do nymphs exist in this world? These two flowers are debating what kind of flower you might be. That is a joke, and it's also incredibly deep. So, I guess they don't see many people who aren't flowers around here, do they? A desert frog is usually using this water lily as cover. This flower won't look back in anger. This flower is arrogant and peculiar, but the other flowers still like it. Ah. I was gonna name some names of famous people, but I don't want to make a deal. Want to shoot shots at people for no reason. Sinjil's tent. You can't be a shaman without a magic gourd. These nutmeg seeds are simply gigantic! Did you know nutmeg can induce a state of intoxication? Also convulsions, profuse sweating, and paranoia. I had no idea. Is that real? This flower's description fell off. The fruit of the rare purple stickle cactus are deliciously hallucinogenic. Aha! You are a shaman of the substances. You don't know what's in there, but it smells of memories and sorrow. A green powder made from spinach frogs. There's a chicken in here. A live chicken. It looks at you, seemingly rather annoyed. Sinjil would prefer if you didn't open that. The contents should not be exposed to light yet. Either this is about a spell, or he's developing photographs in there. I was gonna say. There's a chicken on the tail, the feather, and the fish. Be welcome in my tent, friend. Tell me about you. I am Sinjil Aegidius, one of the 14 desert shamans. We are not going to meet the other 13, probably. Well, maybe we will. I was going to say that would be a lot of work, but considering all the text in this game has had so far, maybe we will meet all of them. I was born on the island of Awana, many thousands of miles from here, but that is not relevant. It is here that my path has brought me. I saw a vision of a blue crow as I first did when I became a shaman, so I knew this path was the one that had been waiting for me. Nice. A long time ago, when I was young and arrogant, my travels took me to a small village in an ancient country, recently torn apart by war and conquest. There I saw the savage brutality unleashed upon the weak and helpless by those who believe themselves to be chosen, to be better than others, to be without the need for kindness. I saw a land snatched away from its people in the name of half-remembered stories from the past. And all my magic, all my power, to do absolutely nothing. That is some writing. Wow. What do you think of Sadaka? I came to Sadaka when I heard Mayor Zahak had been deposed. I felt that here was a chance to make a new beginning. Instead, we got General G. Umguma, who is really nothing but another face for the same monster. He tried to convince me to endorse his regime, to give it my spiritual blessing. I told him where, as we shamans say, to stick it. I am a mighty shaman, mightier than you probably realize. I know secrets that many would kill to know. I have powers that few can contend with. I have danced with the spirits of the desert wind in the secret places where the sands remember the sea, and talked to the traveling dead between dream worlds. I know the names by which the stars and moons call themselves, and all the ways in which magic flows through the universe. But I know only one true thing. Magic is nothing without wisdom, and wisdom is nothing without kindness. You know anything about a murder? You are asking the wrong question. It takes no great magic to know that he was murdered by the guards, as the people of Sadaka well know. Yeah, nice. Straight to the point. It does not truly matter which guard did the deed, because the order was given by General Umgumar, and they know that too. The question is, why was Hashim in the desert? What did he seek? The answer to that question lies in the unspeakable cave, which is where he was returning from when he was killed. I like this character. Like, I didn't personally put together that the order came from General Umguma. But I was like, oh, obviously it was the guards, right? And yeah, so just having somebody who is willing to just slice through the things everybody is not saying but everybody knows and be like, yeah, this is what it is. Obviously, stop thinking about that. Think about the real question. Tell me about this unspeakable cave. The unspeakable cave lies in the desert. I can show you the way. But know this, in the unspeakable cave live the unspeakable horrors that none may see, which, as their name implies, may not be seen, lest seeing them drive you mad. Only at the end of the journey in the depths of the cave can the traveler stop being afraid, for there an ancient secret is inscribed upon the wall, and the monsters stay away from it. Therefore, once you are within the cave, seek the silence. Okay, I have to read this again. Because he just gave me a list of instructions, and I forget instructions all the time. You have to go to the unspeakable cave. There's horrors that you may not see. There's an ancient secret inscribed on the wall. And that's what we're gonna see. Okay. Well, thank you. A pleasure to meet you. Yeah, so when I was a kid, I was raised very Christian and kind of raised with the beliefs that everything that wasn't Christian was either stupid or evil. And so it took me a long time to get over those beliefs. You know, when I went to grad school in physics, I kind of, so I went through a crisis of faith and then declared myself an atheist. What I really became was a scientistic, which was somebody who believes that science is the correct way to arrive at truth. And I shifted my mindset from Christianity is the one and only truth to science is the one and only truth. And anybody who doesn't follow the thought patterns of science is either evil or stupid. And so I still had this prejudice built in me against people like shamans, that I was just like, oh yeah, they're just magical idiots from prehistoric times who don't understand how the world works. Not so. Not so. They have been on life journeys and they've learned about the world through ways that, you know, through their own journeys. You know, I've been on my journey learning about physics, learning about quantum physics and momentum and particles with uncertainty and probabilities. And this guy has learned about by walking through the desert and by living in places where there was brutal evil, and by experiencing the world, and that is growing in competence and wisdom. Yeah, both of these are ways to grow in competence and wisdom. And so I have I can't leave via the arrows. I can go to the unspeakable cave now. So I've come to respect, you know, having having listened to lots of philosophers from all over the world, listened to religious thinkers from many different faiths, I have come to deeply respect people of all, I don't want to say walks of life, but all walks of life. You know, people who have learned and grown in experience and wisdom in through many different paths. And I think that diversity is one of the most beautiful things of humanity. Anyway, I feel like this is the kind of game where I could talk about that. No. I would talk about that in any game. Let's be honest. I have views and I am happy to talk about my views. Ah, how beautifully this bird flies. How elegantly its shadow moves across the sand. I can't wait to pick the skin off your bones. I don't know. To have a well-defined shadow, it has to block the whole sun. I feel like if this flew in front of the sun, it wouldn't make a very good shadow. A bird waiting for its dinner. That dinner will not be me. This tree is especially diabolical. There's something creepy about this tree. Are those subnana trees? Giant, like, house-sized subnanas? Oh, right. Arrow to move forward. In some ancient cultures, stacked stones indicate the presence of evil. In others, they indicate a recent exterior defecation. You wonder which of the two meanings these stones represent. Stacking stones, you gotta... It's an art. And the physics of it is that the combined center of mass of every stone above has to be... Okay. Like, this stone's center of mass has to be on its resting place on this stone. And then the combined center of mass of these two has to be on their resting stone of this one. And then the combined center of mass of these three has to be on the resting spot of this one. So, if one of them is... So... Well, hopefully the idea got through. I can't figure out how to conclude that sentence. You can't go in there like this. If you see the unspeakable horrors, you may well go mad. Okay. Can't travel from here. What? Can I go get a blindfold or something? Go back to Sadaka. Is it warmer than usual today? Hey, you found it? Cool. What about the murder? I knew Hashim. He was a good person, loved this city very much. He wasn't very popular with some people, though. He changed his sex several times when the legal status of doing so was even murkier than it is now. Read a lot of books, the kind of thing some people call having a destabilizing influence on society, if you get my drift. But I don't know who killed him. What about change? Oh, your change? Well, I was always curious, you know, and I could never understand why it was illegal. So now that it's not, why not give it a go? Hell, even if it wasn't part of who we are as a species, why not? Well said. What's up? I already spoke to you. You probably don't have anything new to say. What do you have to say? Murder? I knew Hashim. He liked to get something to eat from me every now and then. And he always told me about how we shouldn't accept General Umguma's orders just like that. About how he thought that handing the revolution to the military was like throwing it away. Radical thoughts, but not without merit. He was also the one who appreciated my humectant hummus. I still can't really believe he won't show up tomorrow morning for some food and political conversation. How about the Isle of the Moon? I've never been that far north. I'm not good with the cold, but a bard came through a while ago who played some songs from the Isle of the Moon, and I admit I was quite taken. And it can't be that cold. It's still in the Fortunate Isles, right? Not like Hyperborea, where there's no summer. So I wonder if the 3 islands will be the extent of the game. I mean, it's an indie game made by 1 or 2, maybe a couple people, right? And it's an old one too. It can't be that long. So, like, will the world expand again? I don't know. Favorite sweet? My favorite sweet in the world? Belly dancing biscuits, of course. They dance in your belly. That doesn't sound good, but if that's what you like, that's fine for you. Can I interest you in some spices? I knew him. He came to me a while ago to ask me for advice. I was born female, and I changed several times during my travels on other islands. That's how one did it back then, when Mayor Zahak was in office, and it wasn't possible to change around here. Not that it's really all that possible now, at least not encouraged. I didn't have that much advice to give him. It's a relatively simple process, but he was smart and wanted to be prepared. Whoever killed him cost us a good citizen. So this is a really important commentary on like identity, and not just identity. I don't want to oversimplify it, but how when certain taboos or vices or also identity categories and activities like gay marriage, you know, is the thing that all of you are thinking, and why is he not saying it by now? But yeah, like, oh my god, this music is so loud. I cannot hear my own thoughts. All right, what was I saying? Oh yeah. It's a commentary on how just because something becomes legal, that does not automatically mean that the battle to be recognized is over. You know, there's still the culture. It takes a long time for it to get through the culture that this is normal, this is acceptable. Here are the risks. You know, with things like drinking is almost never illegal, but if it were, the idea would be like, well, now that drinking is illegal, won't everybody just get drunk and pass out and die from the toxicity? It's like, well, no, now people are free to experiment, and there will be a lot of going too far at first, but over time, the more people in general understand alcohol and what it does to them, the more responsible they will be, and the better they'll be able to teach it to new people who come of age and start drinking. So that's the same thing with these gender transferring lizards, and then the LGBT issues in real life. It's like, you know, as a physics teacher or tutor, I meet students from all over the United States and from many different political orientations. And I once met a guy who's conservative, but he likes talking to people, and he's very open to talking to people. And he was really hedging around the idea of transgender. He's like, I mean, we should like talk about it because it's real, but it should be the parents telling their kids about it in the privacy of the home. And I'm like, and I said, well, no, my view is that trans issues should be talked about in school, in the home, in public, in the library. It's just a thing that we should talk about. And so that's the kind of thing where, you know, the more open it is, you know, maybe there are some concerns. Maybe there are some legitimate concerns. But the more open it is, it's like the alcohol. People will experiment. People will learn what the limits are. People will learn what the wisdom that there is to learn there. And then over time, that wisdom will be passed on to the next generation. So the next generation will not make the same mistakes if there are mistakes to be made. Anyway, second soapbox of the day. What do you know about the murder? I only talked to her once. Well, she was a she at the time. Saw her around a lot, working or talking to people. I don't know if it means anything, but on the day before the murder, the guards were keeping a very close eye on her. Have you heard of cricket? You may think a traditional cricket is boring. Oh no, the sport. You may think traditional cricket is boring, but dwarven cricket is a whole new game. It's faster, less predictable, and a lot more hairy. I don't even know how cricket is played. I think it's kind of like baseball. I live in America. I don't know what things outside of America are like. I know some things outside America. Oh, another thing is Jonas Karatzis has many references to the Culture series, sci-fi series by Ian M. Banks, which I have read. They're very good. I have some issues with them, but it's because it's like a hedonist utopia, high-tech hedonist utopia, and I don't like the hedonism part of it. I love the high-tech utopia part of it. And there are some amazing stories in there. Also, he wasn't that great with characters, but the ideas and stories were amazing enough that it was worth it. And the people in this super high-tech galactic utopia can change their genders, just like these lizard people. So that might have been, was most definitely an inspiration for lizard. All right, what is this? I forgot this place. Isn't there a... No, it's a different island. Mr. Toast! What? Okay, well, I didn't find anything about the unspeakable cave here. Maybe I have an item, some kind of potion? Flat potion. Doesn't have a use, to be honest. It smells kind of flat. The mouse says it prefers bubbly potions. Alcohol. Is there a way... And I want to keep nothing in my inventory. Potion of awakeness, potion of trouble, potion of zibble. Like, do I have a potion of blindness or something? Weird potion. It's not weird because of the liquid, it's weird because of the bottle. Alright, I think it's time to go back to the ship then. I don't suppose you say anything now that I've been to the unspeakable cave. Nothing new. Back to the ship! We could go... we came from the Isle of the Moon, right? We could go to the Isle of the Sun. We could go to the Isle of the Moon and put our new ingredients in the thing. And then walk around and talk to all our friends. You have anything new to say, Don't remember what floor he's on. What do you have to say about Sadaka? Oh, Sadaka is extraordinary. You know, one of my ancestors, Yusuf, Mysterious-Druid, was from there. He was one of the great architects of his time, and made many important structural improvements to Underhome. I heard a rumor that he lives in Billion-Toed City these days, but I've never managed to contact him. Is that Island of the Sun, Billion-Toed City? Are we gonna get to go there? You have anything new to say, Eddie? Isle of the Stars. I would look fabulous in a turban, wouldn't I? Such a shame that there are people who would actually get upset at an AI wearing a turban. Oh. I see. So, like the issue of cultural appropriation. I don't know. There's multiple cultures that wear turbans, right? So, I guess it depends on like making sure that you're not stepping on anybody's toes, right? Half of them would say it's inappropriate because holographic beings shouldn't wear clothing, and the other half would say it's inappropriate because I'm not from Sadaka. And all I can think is, it's a cool hat. What's wrong with wearing a cool hat? Aren't there more serious issues to get upset about, like hunger, poverty, people who talk in the cinema? There is value to this perspective, but there's also value to the perspective that of cultural erasure, right? When one big dominant culture comes in and kind of overwhelms the space of culture, where there's this other culture that has their rituals, their ways of life, and they just kind of get like, and that are super meaningful to them. You know, coming from the United States, I'm like Native Americans, And then the white Europeans came in and brought their industrial revolution and their mindset of frontier and property ownership and all that stuff, and the cultures of the Native Americans got just kind of sidelined, and as this huge domineering culture came in and just swept over everything. And so these Native American people, they hold on to their culture because it's super meaningful to them and it matters a lot. And then when somebody from this huge domineering culture comes in and just wants to wear their hat, it's not just wanting to wear their hat. It is being disrespectful to them because it's so meaningful to them. And then these new people come in and to just treat it like something to put on for a day and then throw away. So there's a whole big discussion to have, and just because you know, if somebody gets offended at something that you think that you're doing that you think is, oh, it's not a big deal, well, maybe ask them about it, because maybe it is a big deal and you don't know about it. Or go and look it up on the internet or something. Well, maybe that's not the best idea. What do you say about the Isle of the Stars?
The fruits and flowers of Sadaka are intoxicating to me, but all that desert is just too much. I prefer the quiet forests of the Isle of the Moon.
Let's see, where was this? There it is. Okay, I now have nothing. Wasn't this where I was going to put it? Or is this where I was going to put it? Aha! Here's where it is. A frubble with a sausage. That didn't work. A frubble with seeds. I got a cookie. A zibble with a sausage. A zibble with seeds. Created a pixel duck. Yes. Nice. I'm happy to have received a pixel duck. Is it in here? Yes. A cute little duck creature of the kind they have in Alpha Land. It stares at you in a pixely sort of way. It smells jumpy. You feel nimble. I ate my duck. I want another one. Where'd it go? Pixel duck. It's in alphabetical order, so it should be easy to find. The mouse really doesn't know what to make of this. Alright. Where do we go now? We haven't got a translator, we can go to the other island. What do you think of the Isle of the Stars? I've never been to the Isle of the Stars. I really want to go someday, but I'm a bit scared it'll be too hot for me. I overheat easily, you know, because I'm so furry. Dad took me to the Isle of the Sun once, and I was sweating so much I tried jumping in the water right there in the harbor, but I fell into a boat. Dad couldn't stop laughing. Nothing. There's a dragon. We can't talk to the dragon. We need a translator tool. Where are the Harthians? Did I give you your beer? Yes, I did. Have you heard of Dr. Crustum? I haven't met him in person, but I once suffered an acute infestation of trumpeting boar lice. I couldn't sleep, couldn't work. Those bloody trumpets just wouldn't stop. I tried everything, but it kept getting worse. By the end, they were playing free jazz. Boar and Ironhand recommended I write to Dr. Crustum, and he sent me an ointment made of beeswax, harp extract, and heavy metal that really helped. Saved my sanity. So jazz isn't your thing. You're more of a Metallica guy. Got it. Did I just see Boris the spider? Nope. Let's check out the Isle of the Sun. Examine the boat. Aphonia. Hello, tortoise. Or turtle. I don't know the difference, but I'm told there is a difference.
Hi, traveler. Isn't it a wonderful day?
Our civilization may be collapsing, but isn't the sunshine beautiful? Oh no, not you too. Athanasia.
I'm Athanasia. I was born here on the Isle of the Sun a long time ago, but I'm still young for a turtle. I like to take things slowly and enjoy them, though lately everything has become very hectic. What else can I tell you? I love this land, I love the sunshine, and I love being a turtle. You've got to enjoy life or it's pointless. That's what I've learned from living so long. The sunshine. You know why the Isle of the Sun is called as it is? It's because it is favored by the sun. On the Isle of the Moon, they long for sunlight but rarely see it. On the Isle of the Stars, they have too much sunlight and seek to escape it. Sometimes I wonder whether we haven't accepted too many injustices simply because the sunshine makes us feel good despite our poverty.
Ow, that's a... I'll try to avoid the soapbox again. This reminded me of another soapbox. Aphthonia. Well, maybe I'll talk about it after I've explored a little while.
It's a beautiful town on a beautiful island, and it's all going straight to Hades in a handbasket. Thousands of years of history, enough to impress even a turtle, and all of it's falling apart because we're letting our idiot leader sell everything we have to Lord Urizen. Other than that, everything's wonderful.
Antigone? What happened to my voice? Antigone?
The Antigone is, without question, the best tavern in all of Aphthonia. The owners are very kind people and their food is simply delicious. The tomato salad alone makes it worth eating there. Not that anyone does these days, of course, as you can see. Our glorious leader, Mayor Cranion, claims that his policy of austerity, except for himself and Lord Urizen, of course, is the will of the Oracle and the only path to our salvation. So either he is an idiot or the Oracle is an idiot. I haven't decided which. Nullus. If you leave the city, could you do me a favor? My cousin Nullus, well, he's a bit of an idiot. He's fled the city because he's scared. Could you check whether he's managed to kill himself yet? I have an idea as to where he might have gone. I'll mark it on that map thing of yours.
Isle of the Moon.
Oh, there are some really nice swamps there. I love a good swamp.
Does it have ogres in it?
Did you know they actually kicked out their mayor? Doesn't seem to have done them much good, though. The military's taken over. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Guards everywhere. Real freedom. Seriously, never trust anyone who just obeys orders.
Timber Tyrant.
He was another one of those idiots who thinks that they can conquer the world because they're better and smarter than everyone else. He caused a lot of misery. On the plus side, he's dead now.
Neve.
Haven't seen her. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, we're still exploring the world, searching for her. Well, very nice to meet you. Ah, this spells Antigone. I guess. I can't ask about it again. I mean, this doesn't look like a letter, but this is a different culture, and they write differently. That be how it is. These flowers speak a secret language. One of these flowers appears to be whistling. What? No dialogue for this flower? By dialogue, I mean flavor text. Oh. I could just walk in. A human! Have we seen humans? Is this the first human we've seen? No, it's not. The Mysterious-Druid is also a human. Are you Neve? You're a bit young to be Neve. Claire.
I'm not really from around here. I'm actually from another world, much like you are. Though I don't have a window like you do. I came here as part of an experiment in trans-dimensional travel, and it's taking a bit longer to get back than I expected. I'm not worried though.
They'll have me back in no time. Besides, I like it here. Jan, is that the person next to you? Oh, he's the best. When I came to this world, I appeared over the water in the harbor and immediately fell in. He heard me screaming in surprise and came to rescue me. He and his wife have been taking care of me since, feeding me, showing me around town. They're good people. What do you recommend for food? It's great, isn't it? Okay, that's not what the... It's just talk about the food. I could just keep eating and eating and eating. It's a shame the tavern is so empty. How about Ephthonia? It's a beautiful town. I love all these little steps and balconies and the plateaus and the amazing view you get from up there. I think I really needed a vacation too. Timber Tyrant? Never heard of that. Hey, but you're new here like I am. Salt and pepper. A pink drink. Salt and pepper. Did I examine everything out here? Looks like a tiny little door. No, it's a shutter. Flowers on the Isle of the Sun tend to attract a lot of insects. These flowers are covered in bees. If you touch these flowers, the obsessive dwarf who grows them will play the trumpet until you apologize. Alright. Delicious bread, the subtle enemy of all those who seek to enjoy an extensive meal. It's quite possible to eat so much bread as to be sated before the meal even arrives. Delicately carved wooden flowers. Menus. A bottle of regular kati. A bottle of katialo. A pitcher of health. Nice. Tourists also always expect Ephtonian people to smash their plates after a meal. Plates being expensive and Ephtonian people being poor, that doesn't really happen. Weird cultural stereotypes. Rainbow Retsina. Wine from a farm in the hills of Helios. A bottle of Cati Periergo. These glasses are used for drinking the island's most popular beverage, water. Delicious aromatic garlic. Where would the world be without garlic? Oh, aromatic, like has aroma. I was like, oh, the word starts with A, so it must be no smell. Oh. You take some hot peppers. John and Katerina don't mind. Oh, wait. Does your name change every time we look? Ashram? Asteroid? You don't need more hot peppers. Okay. Examine everything. A hungry flower. A special liquor made from goat juice. Ninroot flavored uzu. What's up?
Kalispera, traveler.
Tell me about yourself. Can you... Okay. In my world, dogs can't pronounce syllables. So can you pronounce Skylopolos? Sorry, that was profiling.
Just call me John. I run this establishment with my wife, Katerina. I like good food, good people, and good music.
Katerina.
Some people think we shouldn't get along, but I don't see why. When people love each other and have so much in common like we do, why should ancient enmities or the opinions of people stop them? All that matters is we love each other.
Is Katerina a cat? Antigone.
Antigone was the name of Katerina's mother. She started this tavern many years ago. A very nice lady and shockingly talented cook. Never went to any school, didn't have any degrees, but she could cook better than any chef I've ever met. It's a challenge to keep the food as good as it was when she was the cook. Just figuring out how she made the fried zucchini took me almost a year. Properly made fried zucchini are one of the most delicious foods in the world.
I have never had fried zucchini. I've had zucchini cobbler. Is that what it's called? Cobbler? I've had, it's like a pie, but it's not a pie. I don't know. I don't know foods. Zucchini is like a tart vegetable. Poverty?
The situation's enraging. Food prices have gone up so much that we're forced to raise our prices, and people have so little money they can't afford a simple tavern meal anymore. I don't know how much longer we can keep going this way.
Oracle?
Mayor Cranion claims his actions are being guided by the Oracle. Maybe they are, but I don't see them working. Everything is getting more expensive. Unemployment is rising, wages are falling. I may not be a mayor, but I don't see how ruining one's customers is good for business. How can we recover if we're all living in a ditch by the time he's finished?
Timber Tyrant.
I've heard the legend. Why don't you ask Stavros about it? He knows a lot about history, being a philosopher.
Stavros, have we heard that name before, or is that a real life name that I've heard somewhere before? Hot peppers?
We've got far too many hot peppers. Just take some from that bunch on the wall. Don't worry about payment.
Well, that's very nice of you.
Dog food? You mean for a metaphysical quadrupedal dog, right? Most other dogs are relatively easy to feed, as Katarina will tell you. Why do you always eat everything? She always says to me. Anyway, I'll write down the recipe for you. Some of the ingredients might be hard to find.
Hair of the dog? Must be for one of our quests.
I fear that what you're looking for is the hair of a quadruped. The hair of bipedal dogs does not have the same properties, or I would consider selling some of it to keep the tavern going.
Alright, your recipe scroll has been updated. Alright, well you must be Katarina. We have done all of our possible combinations of potions, and so the recipe scroll is kind of pointless. A glass that Katarina hasn't cleaned up yet. The flowers add a pleasant smell to the room. These are flowers. To a goat, they're an appetizer. This salt shaker wants to examine all unsalty food. Wants to exterminate all unsalty food. These bottles contain a special kind of olive oil made according to Antigone's secret recipe. An elaborate ouzo bottle. The ouzo isn't very good, but tourists are always asking for these bottles. Kion and Katarina have given up trying to explain that flashier doesn't mean better. Panpipes, an instrument often associated with shepherds. For the good of everyone, small children should not be allowed near them. A traditional Aphthonian drum. An Aphthonian short-necked buzuki. A certificate acknowledging that the owners of this tavern are masters of the difficult art of making fried zucchini. Yes. Hello. I can't ask her about herself. Oh no, there it is. It's alphabetical order. It's alphabetical order. Alispera traveler, what can I do for you? The tavern was started by my mother, Antigone, a long time ago. Her cooking was so good that everyone came here, sometimes from other islands. We're trying to live up to the name. Times are harder now, though. No one can afford to come from another island just for food. Crisis? It's been very hard for a lot of people around here. I worry about the people who've lost their homes. They're all fine now, but when the winter comes, I hope that following the Oracle's advice will make things better. Drinks? We all have the traditional drinks of the Isle of the Sun. Ouzo, Ritsina, Sapporo, whatever you want. We also have special flavors like Orianic Ouzo or Realistic Retsina. We only serve them with or after food, though. I know that in some places people just drink in order to get drunk. On the Isle of the Sun, that kind of thing is considered to be very crude, and this is one tradition I agree with. Drinking should be about joy, not about drowning one's sorrows. fantastic feta.
Would you like to try some fantastic feta? Here, please take it. No, don't worry, it's free. There's not much of it left, and around here, since the feta makers were fired and production was moved to the mainland, but I believe in hospitality. Besides, we've all had fantastic feta many times before, and you've never tried it. It's also highly prized by alchemists, you know.
Well, thank you. Hospitality.
Hospitality is the most important value, my mother always told me. Without it, we are barbarians, she said, or predators who turn on one another.
Hot peppers.
Oh, we have far too many hot peppers.
People around here aren't really used to hot food for the most part.
Just take as many as you need.
What do you think of the Isle of the Stars?
Have you ever been to the Isle of the Stars? I've always wanted to go there, see the desert, maybe buy one of those magnificent carpets they make there. Maybe once the situation around here gets a little better, Ian and I can go there for a couple of weeks.
About you?
I'm Katarina.
I run this tavern with my husband, Kyon. We make a good team. What do you think of him?
He is the love of my life.
Some people thought we made a strange pair.
They were idiots.
Nice. Fantastic feta. It looks so different. Is it an important... Where is it? It's alphabetical order. You used the feta. Nothing happens. Surprised? It smells like feta. Amazingly, though, that anything that came out of a goat could smell so good. Oh, it's very tempting, but you should keep it for its alchemical value. The mouse nibbles the feta. It's excellent, but you really should eat it. Yeah. I don't know, you know, I figured I should try to eat it in case I could be polite. But, you know, it's for a quest in the video game, so... Alright, that was nice. An obsessive dwarf lives in this house! Alright, where do we want to go next? What was I thinking? I wanted to talk about something. I don't remember. Oh yeah! I'm starting to wonder how this story could end. Because, like, we're being taken over by a conqueror. And they're imposing... And there's a whole, like, bureaucratic system. Like, Underhome was being foreclosed for, like, a tax thing. And it's all, like, lots of laws and legal stuff. And so I'm like, how... This is a video game. How are we gonna fix this in the time frame of a video game? And then I thought, what if the mushrooms stage a communist revolution? That would be a great way to end the... We'll see. This house belongs to Mayor Cranion. He rents it for a steep price while people go homeless. That seems like a bad business decision. Because like if you well, no. Not everyone is going homeless. He's just renting it to the people who can pay a lot. Did you know that the people of Aphonia eat watermelon with feta? It's a surprisingly delicious combination. I wonder if that is from Jonas's personal experience, or if he just made that up as a joke. This is the home of Athena and Maria, a wonderful couple who were both fired recently and are very worried about the future. Two very nice big firm melons. The double meaning is not lost on me. So many melons. Would you like a melon? Here's Socrates. Melons are sweet and refreshing, bringing joy and happiness wherever they are seen. Of all the things you may put in your mouth, are melons not the most divine? Are they not the most pleasing to the touch? If you were to rest your face against a fruit, would you not choose a melon? Fragrant, luscious melons, perhaps. They are the wisest pursuit in life. Yeah. Also watermelons too. Have you heard of watermelons? Tell me about yourself. I used to be a philosopher. No way of doing that and surviving these days. Oh, you're not the guy who lives in the house.
Besides, I'm not sure I was on the right track. So I sell melons now. Melons are good. Everyone loves melons, and selling melons gives me some time to think.
Mayor. Okay. Philosophy.
I went wrong somewhere. I don't know where. Did I know too little but act as if I knew too much? Or was the mistake in asserting too strongly that I only knew that I knew nothing? Forget what that silly boy Plato wrote later on for a moment. There was an error in my thinking, a presumption, a logical fallacy. What was it?
Politics.
I never wanted to get involved in politics. It wasn't a philosopher's business, not in that sense. But where are we now? Would things be different if I had spoken more loudly? Had I spoken less and fought more? What did I do wrong?
Well, do you know a guy named Stratton of Staggera?
I don't trust oracles. Once an oracle said there was no one wiser than me. I think that was wrong.
Yeah, so I wonder if Jonas was already thinking about the story of the Talos Principle when he wrote this. Is this thing about philosophy, and then Talos Principle 1 and 2, and the fictional philosopher Stratton of Staggera, who's basically the what's his name? The Renaissance philosopher, the deist guy, Spinoza. He was thought of as the Spinoza of ancient Greece. Well, nice to meet you, Socrates. There's probably an enormous wasp hiding in there just waiting to jump out at you going buzz! Oh man, the sound of wasp is terrifying, especially when it's inside. It's Leopold Bloom. A hippie flower. It's into self-power. A fragrant bee attractor. Cool, fresh water from the hills of Helios. A puddle. It's like a poodle, but flatter, wetter, and less dog-like. Who would close their window in this lovely weather? Naughty people, that's who. Is this the horny town? What's going on? A strange man called Richard Alpert lives here. The owners of this house moved to Wonerapolis when Lord Urizen's goons kicked them out of their home. Yeah, like I wonder, like we're hearing about Wonerapolis and Billion Toad City. I wonder if we're gonna get to visit those places, or if they're forever gonna be part of the bigger world. Because that's another good thing about that is a thing that I have just thought of right now about world building. Let's not pretend that I'm this wise man who has all the answers. No, I just thought of this right now. Is that if you have things from the wider world that you don't see in a story, then that gives more of an impression of a bigger connected world, which this game is doing very excellent. The home of Stavros, the philosopher tree. He's not at home at the moment. Oh, the guy from one of the promo screenshots? These flowers are quite philosophical. If you smell them, you'll have questions and and bees in your nostrils. An old lady called Eleni lives here with her daughter Maria. These flowers are blue. This flower is relaxing after a long day of blossoming. These are the flowers of youth that everyone keeps going on about. An old lady... A small dry forest full of exploding mushrooms. Oh, you mean like... Oh, so in this game, that might be literal, because it's a whimsical fantasy fairy tale-ish. Well, it's like a... It has whimsical fairy tale elements. Let's put it that way. It is also very advancedly world built. You know, with the level of economics. The young unemployed man who lives here is too depressed to go out. Oh no. I mean... That's really tough to... Yeah. I mean, that was me like a couple years ago. An enthusiastic orange tree. With poverty on the rise, crime has also gone up. That's why Stelios has been forced to secure his windows and get a vicious guard flower. A fallen orange, ideal for rolling under the wheels of a cart so it'll go squish. Even though oranges grow really well on the Isle of the Sun, Mayor Cranion's latest agreement with Lord Urizen says that oranges will now be imported at high cost from the land of Sweaty Bum. Aren't you glad you didn't step on this? A Silmarian man called Stelios lives here. Various bushes grow around Aphonia. Their berries are unhealthy for most animals, but some birds like to eat them because that's how they roll. The house is empty. Its former owners have been kicked out by Mayor Cranion. That's where I came from. More paths. Hello, centaur? A pretty flower bed. Don't step on it, or the bees and wasps and other horrific flower-addicted hairy insects will come and sting you to death. True story, bro. The holiday home of Marcos Malakas, who campaigned extensively for Major Cranion. This flower looks harmless, but it is. This lizard dude is sucking up the heat like a boss. What's up, Matt?
What do you want, stranger? My name's Matt. My job to keep the streets clean and orderly, to stand between civilization and anarchy, protecting the city from danger.
Is there disorder?
Disorder lurks around every corner. People are foolish and easily frightened. Any one of them can turn into an anarchist. I have to protect society against itself. They don't appreciate it, of course.
I don't think you and I can be friends, I'm sorry.
Mayor Cranion is a support of the Oracle, and he's leading us to a better future. It won't be an easy road, and some of the weak-minded people in the city are going to suffer, but it's their own fault. They should trust the wisdom of the Oracle.
Ian, maybe we can talk about some of your childhood trauma. What made you want to use what little power you have to make those beneath you with even less power suffer? Crisis?
What else can you expect? Foreigners everywhere, our own citizens getting lazy and never working. No respect for the old values. It was inevitable.
Tell me about the Timber Tyrant?
You always say the Timber Tyrant was a bad man, but was he? He's fought for his country and brilliantly defeated his enemy. There's never been a general so great. He was betrayed by his own people and murdered on the Isle of the Moon. And why? Because they were jealous of his greatness.
Alright. As long as you don't point that spear at me, I'm going to respect your desire to be left alone. Yeah. Constitution Square. These flowers are very pretty, but kind of shallow. This window has been thoroughly secured. Pretentious flowers. These flowers think that everyone should pay taxes except the people who have money, because otherwise they might be discouraged from making more money. A profoundly Aryan window. This window subscribes to Homoousion today. This window has been secured against robbers and popular insurrections. So I've noticed that in places outside, like the further we get from Underhome, the less flavor text there is to read. And on the one hand, that makes sense from a game design perspective, right? It would be so much work to put all that flavor text on every screen of this game. On the other hand, it also fits in with the theme of getting to know the home really, really, really well, and then learning about the community, and then going out and seeing the world. Like having this core of depth, and then just like branching out in an upside down cone and getting broader and broader. All right, let's go see the mayor. Guess what? He's a skull. I like this metaphor of this skull. It's just like all of your humanity is just shredded away, and you're just. And that's who we've got for leaders. As you can see, putting antique artifacts in the hands of private citizens is much better than keeping them in a dusty old museum. Who cares about what this object teaches us about Athonian history anyway? Cranian bought this at a bargain price after the museum was privatized. Hands off! That's private property! Mayor Cranian's diploma of modern macroeconomic consultancy management from the University of Plantia Dingen. Oh my god. The layers of removal. Macroeconomic. So that's the study of economy at the scale of nations in the world, right? So that's perfectly fine. Consultancy, which means that he is giving wealthy interests. He is wealthy interests are hiring him for him to tell them how to do things better, most likely make more money. And then management. So he doesn't actually do the consulting, he manages the consultants. He manages the consultants who tell the rich and powerful how to get more rich and powerful. Mayor Cranian's collection of exotic drinks from the plateau of Leng is too expensive for you to fool around with. A paperweight in the shape of a temple that the people who made the paperweight have probably never ever seen. Mayor Cranian's notes, most of them begin with the words cut or fire and end with smileys. So I bet we've seen this in the tavern, and we've also seen it here. I bet this is modeled after a real location on this island that we're gonna go. That everybody except like one person has forgotten where it is, and then we're gonna go there and we're gonna learn the history of this island. Carbonated water from a pitcher? Cranian is keeping a log of all the people he's fired. On the advanced use of police violence. These feathers are from the rare gray Pegasus, were a personal gift to Major Cranian from Lord Urizen. Mayor Cranian prefers blue ink. He feels that workers feel better about losing their jobs if the message comes in beautiful, inspiring blue. And when I graded for grad school, I used a blue pen instead of a red pen, because I thought red pens seemed angry. On the other hand, I did not abuse my power over the students. I graded them very fairly based on, you know, the criterion in science class of did you get the right answer for the right reasons. This is where Mayor Cranian keeps the most priceless of his antiques. Pushing the envelope, how to be better, faster, smarter, and get the results you want in business and in life. I believe that's a real book. Gotta work on love, finding an efficient relationship through self-interest. Mayor Cranian meeting Bono. A photo of Mayor Cranian with Lord Urizen. Of course it's obscured because we're not allowed to see Lord Urizen. Because that is a literary device making Lord Urizen a force rather than a person. The Great Chain of Industry. And Urizen. Hands off, it's private property! Discarded personnel files, also known as liberated human resources. How exactly does a skull drink? These designer glasses cost more than the Antigone makes in a year. Their theme is inspiration through poverty. Advanced macroeconomic tools that have nothing to do with making cocktails. How to beat everyone and get everything, part 2. Bitches dig skulls. By Macho McBoner. The layers of humor to this joke. Oh, the layers. This is the best book in the game. How greed helps everyone. New dynamics of winning. Gain the mindset of a champion for unlimited success in business and life. Skulls are from hell. Women are from Venus. Man, I was expecting to have The Art of the Deal somewhere in here by Donald Trump. Oh my goodness, do I want to talk to you? I was thinking about something. A joke to make or a comment to make, I don't remember. Oh yeah, inspiration through poverty. Because if we weren't surrounded by legions of poor people, then honest working folk wouldn't have anything to terrify them into working.
Yes.
Crisis?
The average person in the street is suffering, and I fully understand that and feel for them. Unfortunately, a state must take difficult decisions that may seem strange to the common man, but are completely logical when looked at from the perspective that we look at them, the perspective of the future. That is why all the actions taken in Athonia are based on the advice of the Oracle, an expert in all matters regarding the post-present development of events. We are confident this partnership will lead our community to a better future, even though sacrifices will be necessary.
Tell me about yourself.
I think of myself as a patriot, not in the nationalist sense, of course, but as someone who has the best interests of Athonia in mind. Hard choices have to be made, and it will take courage to bring Athonia into the future. I am confident that our actions will lead through the current dry spell to a brighter future. We will work hard and overcome our troubles, I am confident. For all legal purposes, these statements are to be taken as being of an inspirational nature. Economic results may vary.
Every one of them has said that. Every one of them has said that. They rehearsed it, they wrote it, they probably had somebody else write it for them. Nope, they probably typed it into an AI prompt generator and had that write it for them. And then they memorized it, and that's what they said. Sacrifices. Sacrifices are necessary to find a way out of this difficult situation. Though they do not understand it, it is the people who must make the sacrifices, and we are confident that we will have their support in this. Because it was their lack of sacrifices that brought on the crisis in the first place. It is highly unreasonable to demand sacrifices from the rich, however, as their function as job creators is the only path out of this crisis. It is they who do the real work of thinking and owning, not the superficial work of working, which is at best a metaphorical work. Oh man, it's funny, and I like the game, so I'll give the writing a pass. But I'm not a fan of characters who say things unrealistically as somebody made up for the writer to get mad at. Okay, confession time. This game has inspired me to pick up the book The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, because I was curious, and so I'm listening to that now. And one of the first things I noticed is that all of her characters that are not the hero, or not the protagonist, there's two protagonists, all the other characters are caricatures of people that she made up to get mad at. They don't act like real people, they don't talk like real people, they don't think like real people. They're just what Ayn Rand believed other people were like. and so she made them up to get mad at them. And it's frustrating. And this, at the same time, however, knowing what Ayn Rand stood for and putting that aside, I'm actually really enjoying the book because it's well written, and there are certain parts of the message that are really inspiring. You know, that's the thing about Ayn Rand, is that despite having hypocritical, questionable, and sometimes downright terrible views, she also has a small number of views that are extremely inspiring. And so, you know, as one of the thinkers of the world, it is worth listening to the ideas of Ayn Rand, just like it's worth listening to the ideas of the Renaissance philosophers. It's worth listening to the ideas of Confucius and the Chinese philosophers. It's worth listening to the ideas of Karl Marx. It's worth listening to the ideas of the postmodernists. It's worth listening to the ideas of Adam Smith and the Frankfurt School. It's worth listening to It's not worth listening to everybody's ideas. There are some people whose ideas are not worth listening to. But many, many people have ideas that are worth listening to in the context of listening to lots of different types of perspectives, to learn as much as to gain as much wisdom from as much locations as you can. So yeah, I'm reading that book and I'm enjoying it, and also sometimes I'm very frustrated with it. But yeah, this text right here came across to me as the same thing. This is Jonas. Like, no actual person would say this, right? No real character would say this. This is Jonas coming up with a character as a caricature to get mad at. But in the context of the rest of this game and the rest of his work in the Talos Principle games, I feel it's acceptable because he has really good messages that he's trying to get through. And of course, I have nitpicks with Jonas about some of his ideas. Like he seems to be more comfortable with the idea of humans dominating nature. Like, he seems to like that idea. I think that wording is weird, and I think there's anyway. I have little nitpicks, but it's nitpicks, and of course, with anyone who makes philosophical work, you're gonna have nitpicks because you don't agree with there's no way you'll find somebody you agree with 100%. If you're an intellectually, if you're a person who thinks about things yourself, there are some types of people who do agree with people 100% for non-intellectual reasons. Anyway, what is that? My fourth ramble of the day. What about the future?
One of the great problems we face on the Isle of the Sun is the childish laziness of its people and their lack of what our experts call inventfulness. Concept similar but more complex than inventiveness, in that it encompasses a certain cleverness and brilliance rarely found in our people. They spend their days idly sitting in the sun or working with their hands or minds, when such greater things are possible. Look at the concept painting behind me. If we transformed our beaches into exclusive resorts, how much money could be earned? Imagine hotels housing thousands of tourists from the mainland, with little swimming pools so they don't have to walk to the beach, with entertainers at every corner. That is the future. What about your ideals? I stand by the ideas of freedom, democracy, and anti-austerity on which I was elected. I love democracy. Surely it is not my fault that there are those who cannot understand how my policies are every word and letter of the Constitution, a truthful and passionate but also logical and inevitable bringing to life of the very fundamental principles of my program as endorsed by the Oracle. These traitors who cannot understand the deeply progressive concept of anti-austerity via radical austerity are the very definition of the laziness and corruption responsible for our problems. I feel deeply sorry that such harsh measures are necessary.
but I am proud of the new direction this island has taken. Sure. Alright, I have noticed that every leader in these places is a skull, and nobody else is a skull, which means I think we have some kind of racism going on here. The skulls are in power, and everybody else is a second-class citizen. These flowers are debating the origin of death. These flowers are just waiting to drop on someone's head, cracking their skull and spilling bees down their back. A chameleon mushroom disguised as a pot. The flowers are real. I guess that mushroom likes bees. Nasturtiums are very similar to those that grow in Eriador, another Tolkien reference. There's a frog in there, hiding away from the sun. Every morning, this flower gets out of its pot to sweep the street and sing peculiar anthems. Sounds like a reference. What is this thing? Flippers? A broom that belongs to that slightly deranged flower next to it. This is the home of a sentient glass called Charis. Nice. Bees only come to these flowers when someone is trying to open the window. For some inexplicable reason, these flowers are followers of Quetzalcoatl. Lamp oil is too expensive these days, so people prefer to use candles. At least they look prettier. An old couple lives here. Their only child has moved to Uth-Nargai to look for work. Yes, it's promo art guy. Ah, the smell of flowers. Ah, their beautiful colors. Ah, the horrible werebees that can't tell the difference between a flower in your hand. You wonder where that ship is going. Sakada? Maneth? Maybe even Wonderopolis? There's a tiny lizard living in that pot. His name is Andrew, and he's very pleased to meet you. Why, hello, Treebeard. How may I help you? Tell me about yourself, Stavros. I am Stavros, a Dendric philosopher. I was grown and raised here on the Isle of the Sun, and it is here that I spend my time trying to understand what little I can, to find as much enlightenment as may be granted in this or any other world. I don't know. I think maybe part of enlightenment is learning to deal with material condition. You know, maybe it might be a better idea to go somewhere else. Although, also part of enlightenment is learning to endure through suffering, so... Democracy. Any question the value of democracy in times like these, dreaming instead of great leaders to relieve us of our burdens. It may be granted that our situation is partially of our own making, having elected those who brought us here, though that is a dangerous simplification. However, history teaches us a simple lesson as regards leader. A great leader may be great today, but their greatness may not last forever. They may grow corrupt, or be replaced by others. A bad leader, once in power, is hard to remove and may poison the spirit of the land for many years. An elected government, however, no matter how foolish, may still be altered by democratic means. Democracy may correct itself. That is our only hope. I'm gonna say Jonas time traveled to 2025 to write this piece of text. Violence. I have spent much thought on the subject of violence. In the beginning, I believed that the only wisdom lay in rejecting all violence. It is easy to come to this conclusion. All that is required is a little history. For a long time, I was very certain of this position. The use of violence debased both victim and perpetrator. But lately, I have begun to have doubts. While violence should not be allowed to the state, should not be sanctioned by law, does that mean all violence is wrong? How may an oppressed people defend themselves when dialogue is not an option? When the oppressor will use violence without remorse, is it not justified to strike back? The sea. Sometimes I have to turn away from the sea to be able to think. It inspires me, but it can also put me in a trance. It is overwhelming and perfect, which is why it is the source of so many sayings and metaphors. I just thought of maybe another way this story could end. The game's called The Sea Will Claim Everything, right? It could end with some kind of reminder that regardless of all of the struggles and troubles that we in our communities and cultures have, nature is more ancient and will endure long into the future after us. You know, the Earth was around for 4 billions of years before humans existed. And, well, we can't speculate about the future, but presumably, I like to think that humans will evolve into something biologically different than we are now. Maybe branch off into multiple species. Maybe enhance ourselves with technology and become something more than human. Or something different than human, if more is not the correct word. Why did I get on this? Oh, yeah. So, people often say the world and nature, the sea, the stars, the planets, that will all be around long after humans are gone. And I don't like that saying because it implies there's going to be a time when humans are gone. Maybe humans as we know ourselves today will be gone, but I don't think it's going to be a lack of all narrative constructing creatures, right? It will be something that we evolve into that will be different from us, and hopefully more enlightened, more compassionate, etc. Anyway, I can't remember what my original point was. Oh yeah, the sea will claim everything. Maybe at the end of the story, the sea will claim everything. History. History, as it has been said, repeats itself. But I believe that is a misunderstanding. History is not a process, but a result. The patterns we must observe are the patterns of wealth and war, thought and policy. If we may understand the rules to which these matters are bound, then history may be changed. History will only repeat so long as we do not understand its machinery. Well said, Stavros. Lord Urizen. He calls himself a follower of reason, but in truth it is false reason that he follows. A hollow construct of language and customs that allows for none of the principles of reason. What do you think of the Oracle? I do not know if the Oracle speaks the truth. Can the future be predicted? Unlikely. But if the ancients are to be believed, many of the Oracle's prophecies came true. Perhaps it is less a matter of foreknowledge than of extrapolating from current knowledge. Perhaps that is what it means to be a seer. Not to see the future, but the present. And this guy is wise. I like him. Have you seen Neve? Oh, you know Neve and the. That is wonderful. They're a lovely couple, aren't they? Anyway, yes. Neve passed through here a while ago. She said she was going to the hills of Helios. Here, I'll show you on your map. You heard of the Timber Tyrant? His tale's one of the most tragically ironic of our time. Did you know that the Timber Tyrant was not his real name, but only a mocking nickname given to him by his opponents? Yeah, I'm not surprised. I won't say that I thought of it explicitly, but I don't imagine any mother naming her child Timber Tyrant. Although, I don't imagine any mother naming her child the Mysterious-Druid. And yet, For all his conquests, for all his so-called glory, his true name has been forgotten. He sought to make himself the greatest king who ever lived, and now he is only a half-remembered story of barbarism and futility. Wow, that was a pleasure. Alright, we got more people. We've got more people over there, but I've been playing for a long time. We will go and talk to this person in the next time. Thank you all so much for walking. Yeah. Get your steps in. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more of The Sea Will Claim Everything and other awesome games. I'll see you next time. Bye.